Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Automotive Insight. Today we have a 2013 Dodge Dart, and the customer's complaint or concern is that it is an intermittent no crank. So just so that we're all on the same page, because I know there's a lot of different levels of techs and people that watch the channel, a no crank means that the starter is not engaging at all. No start would be that the starter is turning, but the car doesn't start. So anyway, let's get to it. So with this being an intermittent problem, and it's pretty intermittent. I mean, sometimes it'll go a couple weeks without doing anything, apparently, but I guess it's getting worse from what I'm told. So first thing I do is I just scan it for faults to see if anything might pique my interest, and one of them does, and that would be the transmission range sensor. So let's dig into this a little bit, because if the transmission thinks that it's in, say, drive, it's not going to let the car start. So another one that is kind of interesting is this P1C86-92. I'll have to read what this is about. I think this is just for the indicator light. I'll dig into that a little bit more. These two might be related to each other. I'm not sure. But anyway, let's dig into this code here and see what we got going on. So this is a stored code. It's a history code. So I just pulled up a data list of some stuff I thought might be interesting. And right now, it's starting every time. So I'll run the gear select through the gears. See if anything stands out as being interesting. So the one thing, I don't know if you caught that, I'll try to get it again, but if you watch this shift lever position, the first one, not one, but the one that's above it, when you shift between park and reverse, you will get a no selection active, but the shift lever position 1 still says it's in reverse. So what I want to do now is I'm just kind of holding it here, but I want to see if the car will start like this. I don't think it will, because I think it assumes it's in reverse now, but I'm just kind of curious what this will do. I'll put it in park on accident. And another thing I've noticed is I've noticed every once in a while when you cycle this key, I'll get whatever, invalid on this too. I don't know if we'll be able to get it on camera, but right there. So that, I don't know if that's normal or not, but let me try to see if I can't get it to where it says it thinks it's, there we go. Nope. Well, that says reverse and park. Let's see if it'll start. It thinks it's in park and says this is no select. All right, it's not letting it start like that. So, I'm not going to bore you with 30, 45 minutes worth of footage. I'm basically just going to be playing around with the key and playing around with this and see if I can't get it to where when I key it on, it shows one of these in a weird position. So I'll do that.
Much later.
So I did finally get it to act up. By the time that Joe got here with the camera, it straightened itself out. But basically, after a bunch of shifting it around and cycling the key, when I cycled the key back on, where it would normally say NA, when I had cycled it back on, it said this was that no position or invalid data or whatever it was, like
selection not valid.
Yeah, it would say right there. and eventually it just went away on its own, and it would allow it to start. So that being said, I'm fairly comfortable putting a parental switch in this thing, or a neutral safety, or transmission range sensor switch, whatever they want to call it. I'm fairly comfortable putting that in it. I did a little bit of digging. That other code that we had talked about, that's basically the same thing. The two codes basically mean the same thing. So let's get to that. Before we get started, we're going to go ahead and set the parking brake, because we're going to probably get the range into who knows what, low or something. So the parental switch is right down there. And to be perfectly honest with you, I could probably do it just reaching up underneath there. But in an effort to give you the mediocre content you're accustomed to on this channel, we'll go ahead and take the battery out and the battery tray out. So let's get to that.
Liar!
So our battery, the cables are 10 millimeters. And our hold down appears to be a 10 millimeter as well. All right, so what I want to do is I want to get this ECM off of this battery tray. So I think Chrysler makes all this one giant thing here. This hose clamp's an 8. So we got our temp sensor unplugged. There is a, you can't even see it. There's a hose clamp down here. I don't know what size it is. I'm using a flathead screwdriver, but I'll take that off. Go ahead and get working on our ECM. It's 3 10 millimeter bolts. Take note, there's a ground down here on the bottom right. All right, that's loose. So, change of plans with our ECM and this part of the tray here out of the way. I feel like that's good enough. It's certainly good enough for me, and I feel like you can probably see most of it. So we'll start by taking our connector off. It's just a push pin connector. The linkage is just a push on. That just pushes on. Now we get working on our shift shaft nut. It is a 14. So now all we're left with is 2 10 millimeters. So we'll work on those. Now we'll try working on getting this arm off. All right. So now this thing's probably welded on here. Nope, came right off. All right, so here's our new one. It's got I don't know how well you can see it, but kind of like little half moon flaps or whatever you want to call these on there. And those obviously correspond to those half moon flap things or whatever. So I'm just going to kind of feel around there and see if I can't get it in. All right, so if you notice, these are elongated holes, and that's to give yourself some adjustment. Now, best we can tell is this is going to go on that shaft. The shaft's coming through here. I think that this is to line up your park position. So we're basically going to be trying, we're going to stick a bolt or something in here and try to get this lined up and then tighten the bolts down. So that's the plan.
I have concepts of a plan.
I'm not sure if that's how it works, but I think that's how it works. So we'll try that. So there we have our bolt lined up through the arm and down into the switch. So now we're going to go ahead and tighten our bolts up. All right, so now we'll get our bolt out. And we should be able to pop it back in whatever gear it was. Park. And get our oh, that's what that noise was.
I thought it went on.
It did. It did. And get our cable back on. Plug it back up. Go ahead and get the kind of left side of this tray back in. Make sure that you get your ground back on that bottom right. Want to keep our battery nice and warm in the wintertime. Dude, this guy looks so cool. So we started the car, ran it through the gears to make sure that our adjustment was right. Everything was spot on. So I'm assuming the way that we did it with that bolt going through the lever thing is probably the way that you're supposed to do it. We hooked up ScanTool to it, and we're watching that same data that we were looking at before. We're never able to get it to screw up again. We spent probably 20 minutes or so doing it. So when it's all said and done, the PRNDL switch, or the transmission range sensor, I'm not sure what they call it, it only calls for like 0.6 to put it in. We spent way more time trying to duplicate the concern, and we only got it to do it once. Since I've had it, this is actually the second time this car has been back and haven't been able to get it to do it. But we finally did get it to do it. We didn't catch it on film, but we spent another, like I said, 20 minutes or so trying to get it to do it over again, and it never did happen. So hopefully this fixes it, because this car has a very convoluted starting system. To be a blade key style, it's set up more like a smart key style. So I'm really fingers crossed. I hope that this one stays gone. But that part was, we ordered one from Chrysler, and when we went there to go get it, they had no idea what we were talking about. So we ended up getting that one from a Napa store, and it cost like $60, I think. Is that right? It was like $60. So $60 and roughly a half an hour if you just want to shotgun that switch at it to see what's happening. It's nowhere near as hard as we made it out to be. We took a bunch of bolts off. Really, in your interest, you didn't have to do all that, but we were trying to make it easier for you guys.
But you can just pull that ECM off in that one side of the battery box and reach down there and get it. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap this one up for today. Hopefully we earned a thumbs up from you. Let us know what you think down in the comment section. We have new content for you every single week, so consider subscribing to the channel. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
I'll pick you up at 8. You probably won't be awake. Call yourself an Uber, babe. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
Just went to the estate sale after everyone left. It was like, how much do you want for the rest of this? I'll take it. We'll put it on our cars.
Yeah.
We'll call it Stellantis.